wait until you destroy yourself upon him, especially in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. Now, when it comes to this matchup, when you play that style, you run into late game TVP, something that most Terran players do not enjoy playing. Dodging storms, having to deal with Colossi, managing a ratio of Ghosts and Vikings, very, very difficult to do. Very difficult for this matchup for Terrans in the late game. So he's going to have to play a little bit differently here if he doesn't want this player, Choya, to get that death ball in the late game.
Yep, and here is Choya. He is 0-2, like I mentioned before, in Pro League so far. I'm sure he's been practicing so much for this match. Reality, definitely a very strong opponent. He has not faced a Terran just yet, so this is going to be a different matchup for him. So maybe he will do a little bit better in this matchup. Like you mentioned, that TVP, that late game TVP for Reality is definitely very hard to deal with for Terrans so far. We're going to have to see how he takes this game into his hands.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. Choya, there's no doubt in my mind, Choya has prepared twice as hard as Reality. I just don't know if he's going to be able to close the gap here. Let's find out. It's the King Sejong Station for game number 1.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right, in the pink for Samsung Galaxy Khan, the Terran player that both you and I have voted for in this matchup. He is Reality.
Yep, everyone except Kanata thinks he's got this one in the bag. Now for Prime, formerly the coach and manager of Foyu, it's Choya. Representing the purple. So we got pink versus purple here.
Which one of these colors do you like better?
To be honest, in StarCraft 2, I like the pink more.
Yep. I'm on the same page with you here.
It looks better on the skins of the units themselves. On the other hand, I think neither of these colors are particularly good colors, is why they're not normally used in standard tournaments. You know, in a 1v1 tournament like IEM, for example, is because they both have problems with the minimap. The problem with pink being that it very closely resembles the color of the mineral patches and the gas. The problem with purple being that it's so dark that on any tile set or on creep, that's a little bit more difficult to identify the buildings.
Oh yeah, man, the purple on the creep, that's just really annoying to deal with. But we do have these colors here to standardize which of these teams are playing, so I feel like it is necessary in that facet.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's not so different. The difference between using a more standard color that it makes you feel like you can't watch the game.
Yeah.
Now, early on here, we have a scout for Reality. Not a bad choice considering Choya's tendencies to cheese in the past.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that he's not going straight up the middle here. He's going all the way around just to check a little bit extra to see if maybe Choya is throwing out something a little cheesy, a little sneaky. But it turns out Choya is not going for that just yet. Just throwing down a gateway so far.
Reaper will come out here for Reality now. He wants to go in and see where the pylons are. See what Choya's got hiding in his base. And he's going to check the Nexus timing. Even going to eBay block blind. And this is great for him as the Zealot has not started early. And the probe is actually going to be unlucky. Ooh, even Bugs here. And he's going to have to re-attack.
Yep, going to have to come all the way around here. Is going to force this FCV off now, but already that eBay being built a ton there. And it's going to be very, very hard to destroy that. Like we've mentioned before, it is the building with the most HP per second to build. So it is very good to block that.
Yep, and with the Reaper coming out here, he actually might be able to kill that probe. I think he actually will get it. Let's see. If he gets it, it means the Nexus is further delayed. He's even going to build this on this a little bit more. No, nice micro here by Choya. He denies that. All right, here comes the Reaper. There's the cancel on the eBay. Does he get the probe? No, he takes a hit on the Zealot first. He's going to fight the Zealot head on.
Well, Stalker isn't out yet. It is about to come out, but with the Mothership Core here as well, this Reaper is going to be forced back. Is not going to force that Nexus, or stop that Nexus rather, but he's going to know it's coming up. Starts a CC of his own on the low ground as well as a bunker, just to be a little bit more safe.
Yeah, you know, a bit surprising he didn't kill the probe, but you can still come in later and see what the rest of the build is going up to for Choya. It's definitely something we're probably going to see him do because, I mean, if you don't, then you're playing blind. Now, what he decides to do instead of rushing his way into the main base is checking for proxies first. And that's, I guess, the safer way to do things because if you see a proxy, it's pretty conclusive. If you rush your way into the main base, all you see is the pylon placement. That only lets you know where you could come back in later, and also it lets you know, of course, where you might want to scan. But
yeah, and against a build with the Nexus this fast, you're not going to see much when you go up at that timing. So I like the idea here. 2 Stalkers here going to try to deny this, but he's going to come up in here and see that robotics going down here.
Yeah. And normally, say you're playing against a player like Rain or Creator, you see your spot, like, wow, okay, he's playing safe. Gonna be doing something pretty standard, pretty normal. Playing against Choya, you're like, all right, well, is he gonna put sentries in a Warp Prism, drop my main base with 4 gates, or is he gonna do an Immortal timing, or is he gonna do 2 base Colossus with range push, pull his probes? I don't know, but I gotta be ready for any of the possibilities. Now, if Choya decides to play a macro game here and actually just take a 3rd base and defend, that would be so crazy that it just might work. We'll see.
We're going to have to see. It seems like, on the other hand, Reality is going for Widow Mines with the Medevac, probably going to try to drop those in the mineral mines, mineral lines, rather.
Yes.
But like you said, I was about to say the same thing. I mean, when you look at Choya, it's just like, I don't see him going very safe. But with the Robotics Bay coming up here, could see him going a bit more late.
Yeah, I mean, he's queued 2 Observers. He's actually canceled one, it appears, because it's not on the production tab. It does actually make its way up back now, though. Gonna do double Widow Mine drop. You talked about this earlier, going for those mineral lines. He's going into Robotics Bay very quickly without any gateway support, so he's rushing it, which makes me feel like we're gonna see a timing attack. Immortal first. That Mothership Core is directly in between both Nexi, making it easy to use the overcharge on whichever one he decides to do first. And here comes that Widow Mine. The Observer is rallied. Don't know if he's going to be home.
Here comes both Widow Mines dropped in the mineral line. The probes do get pulled, but is it going to hit? Very decent hit there, about 4 or 5 kills there. This other Widow Mine trying to get some more damage, but it's got to be careful. A lot of
he's going to save it. Oh, no, he does not save it. Could have boosted in there, I feel. That Assimilator is friendly.
Don't attack friendly structures. Is he able to pick off that Widow Mine?
Could have been much better. The second one didn't get any shots off. The first one could have gotten like maybe 2 more if it aimed a little bit differently. What really important is that he sees the robotic support bay and he sees the lack of gateways. So he now knows, okay, you rushed out Colossi, so I need to have a response for that. He's making mostly Marauders back at home. In fact, double Marauder production, no Marines, which is going to be a little bit more useful against this type of play. Now he's going to come in here again. This is something that Choya does not expect. Normally you only see the 1 drop, and that's it. Good splits here, though. He only takes 1 loss.
And is he going to be able to get out here? It looks like he will. He's going to go into this dead space behind there. Coming in with a drop of 4 Marauders here. Definitely could take Choya off guard here if there's nothing here to defend at the natural.
Yeah, and I think he knows with the lack of gateway production, this is a really good idea. I mean, look at this ragtag group of units to defend. A Colossus, 2 sentries. He's going to go for the pylon here. Does end up losing a Marauder. Forces the overcharge.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened over here. I think it looks like a Widow Mine drop was attempted but deflected. No probe production. Can't afford it, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, when you rush out the Colossi so fast like this, you got to spend a lot of money on this. And adding those 3 extra gateways and no probe production, I think you're going to be right with this. Stopping at 44. Looks like he's going to go for a pretty strong timing attack here, but Reality has all the information he needs to stop this. He's coming in so many times. He's going to see the extra gateways when he comes in this time. Well, looks like he might just pick off this pylon, but still, he's got to know that something similar is coming up here. He has the Vikings on the way as well.
There's a famous line used to describe StarCraft. Was StarCraft is a game of limited information. The scan reveals most of the gateways, so he knows this is coming. One of the strengths of this push, and probably the best strength of this push, and why we see it so much more often in Wings of Liberty than we, or had seen it in Wings of Liberty more often than we see it now in Heart of the Swarm, is because it's much harder to scout as a Terran in Heart of the Swarm, or in Wings of Liberty. But now in Heart of the Swarm, you got boosting medevacs, you've got, you know, Reapers to come in there and scout robotics, timings like this. So he knows this is coming. Doesn't mean it's any weaker than it was in Wings of Liberty, but because he knows about it, he has these Vikings ready. He has a mostly Marauder composition. You know, that's what he's been trying to build here. Fake Colossus gets dropped down here. That's
he has a lot of sentries in this mix as well. If he gets good force fields here, this could be very scary to defend. Reality not engaging just yet, just pulling the SCVs away, waiting until he has just enough units here. Choya doing some decent poke damage. That CC getting to about half health as well.
Yep, and here we go. Guardian Shield goes up. Force fields are dropped. Really nice force fields, but there's just too much DPS on these Vikings. Colossus #1 is gone. The fake one, of course, long gone. And the second reel falls, and now once those force fields fall, that's going to be the end of Choya. About as straight up textbook of a defense as it gets. No bunkers required here. Choya's army will fall, and so will he in game #1. Reality even landing the Vikings to participate. Now he's going to lift them, of course, with that Colossus here, and that's going to be the end of the game. Sorry, Choya fans, today is not his day.
No, it definitely is not. Reality delaying just enough to get those 2 extra Vikings. There's the GG. Reality just very textbook, knew it was coming, got the composition, was just ready for it. Choya losing again, 0-3 so far in Pro League, and Prime goes down 0-1 to Samsung, taking the lead.
It's a very simple process for Reality. He sees the fast Robobay with his Widowmine drop, and he's like, oh, wow, you rushed that. Now, you could be using this defensively, but you're Choya, so you're probably not. So what does he do? He keeps dropping, and throughout that, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he's always checking what's there. And then